Hey there, Outdoor Adventurers. It's Brian from the Outdoor Adventurers Series YouTube channel. It is mid-December 2022 in Ohio, and it just rained the last couple of days. No snow yet. It's supposed to be coming this Thursday, but I did have someone that reached out to me on the channel and said, hey, can you give me some tips or ideas on how to get a fire going when it's just rained, or it's been raining for the last couple of days, or it's covered in snow? So what we're going to do is we're going to go out to the woods today, and we're going to try to forage some items that we're going to need to get a fire going. We'll do both. We'll do high wind, we'll do moist wood. I can't do snow cover unfortunately today, but maybe another episode. But we'll show you how to get a fire going with wet wood, how to find dry wood when it's just rained. It's out there, and probably most times the unusual places. So I'll show you a couple tips on that, and gosh, if you got any ideas that I missed, let me know, because I'd love to hear them. All right, let's go. So here's what we're looking for. It's probably not a perfect example, but so if you go out to the woods and it's raining, snow covered, you're going to find wood that's downed. And in this case, if you take a look, it's all punky. It's all punky, nasty wood. But the good thing about this is inside this punky wood, look at that, it's all punk. Inside here is solid wood. So what you do is cut a nice piece and then split it, and all your dry wood's going to be inside, and then you can split the dry wood, and that's what you use to start your fire. So here we're going to do it. I'm going to set another camera up so you can see, watch me saw it up, and then we'll do some splitting. We're going to get my saw. I'll take this punky wood, and when you get inside, you can see that when you get inside, you can see that the center is hard. All right. Piece like this. All right, now what we'll do is we'll take this wood that's punky on the outside, we're going to split it. If you look on the inside of the wood's dry. So take a look here on the outside. Look at it, it's all punk. It's all punky. Here's a good example of how punky it is. See, it just crumbles. It's muck. But when you break it in on the inside, you split it, and there's dry stuff on the inside. what we'll do, we'll take this now. We'll take this. See, it's all punky on the outside and it's coming right off. It's garbage. And that's okay. Get the out part off. Stuff off, and now you got nice dry stuff on the center. Even this, because it's been punked, it's still kind of weak in the center, but at least it's dry. It will burn. So you want to make it these pieces, get some nice small ones. Try to make them as small as possible, because when you get your fire going, you're going to start it off with little tiny sticks that you can find hanging from either pine trees or other trees that the branches are dead. I'll show you that in a minute, how to collect those. Again, this is all kind of punky, but it's on the inside, it's dry. So we're just gonna split it up. Try to get all that punky stuff off the outside, because it's just water that will come out and fizzle and cool your fire down and potentially put it out. So just get all the punky stuff off. What I'm going to try to do here is try to find a pine tree, an old one, and I'll see if I can find some, you know, get a nice branch and get some fat wood. And the fat wood is just wood that's been super saturated in pine sap, and it's kind of dried up and all the moisture's out of it, and it burns real hot, and that's great for wet wood or winter wood, getting enough heat going to keep the fire going until everything dries itself out and can burn. So we're going to take this, collect it up. I'm going to show you how to collect a couple of the other branches. Again, I like to learn more. There's something I'm probably missing. So if you got some techniques or tips that you like to do to get dry wood in wet conditions, please definitely leave the comments down below. So here's another good pile. If you look through the woods, you'll see it. All this wood. How dry that is. Grab a bunch of that. We'll look through the woods here, see if we can find some fat wood off one of these pines. All right, so we found a nice piece of fat wood right here, potentially right here, but this right here, if you take a look, you can see how sappy it is. I'm going to cut it from this side. All right, now if you can't smell it, but take a look, all that is all pine sap. All this right here is all pine sap, and it is highly flammable, dry as a bone. So we're going to take this piece, we're going to split this piece up, and this is going to be wonderful kindling once we split it up with our hatchet and then with our knife to get a quick fire going when it's wet outside. Piece too. Yep, that's perfect. All right. So as you're walking, just take a look. So we can see over here, it's rained. You can see the ground here. See the ground? It's wet, moist. It rained the other night. So when you look at this pile right here, these, a all been dead for a while. So although it did rain on it, there might be some moisture in it, but there's going to be a lot of dry stuff. So what we're looking for right now is the skinniest or smallest of the sticks, stuff like this right here. Look how dry that is. So we'll gather up a bunch of this. Here's a good piece right here. Look how dry this is. Now again, it's going to be moist because it rained, but once you get the fire going, that fire will dry that right on out. Take a look how dry that is inside. So here's a good example of dry wood. So here's a marsh. I mean, it is as wet and as boggy as you'll ever get. But if you take a look, there's dead trees. Look at that dead tree right there. I don't know if you can see this, but it's dry as a bone. If you got your hatchet on that, all that wood is extremely dry and ready to be burned. And if you look right over there beside it, you can see that there's definitely weeds that have kind of big leaves that are dry that will definitely burn and catch fire, and then the weeds right there beside it will catch fire real good. Here's an example of what I'm talking about that's on the other side. It's this stuff right here. This, listen to this crack. This is all dry. I'm going to take a bunch of this. Dry as it can be. And yet it rained yesterday, I think even up until this morning. All this is already dried out. So I'm going to take a handful of that. All right, and even as you walk, here's a little bit more. That's dry as can be. It's all dry. So just different things. Here's some more right here. Grab some of this. Right, and then as you walk along the shore, go all that stuff. That's dry, that will burn. Look at, here's a jackpot. This the water level was up higher and then it just dropped. Look at this. This is all dry. This is dry wood. Look at that. That is beautiful dry wood right there. So it's all about looking for it. Here, if we come over here, look at this. Call that dry wood right there. That all break off. And right here's a marsh. Right here. It's all soaking wet. So it's out there. You just have to think through it. A lot of times when you're in an emergency situation, you just have to calm down, relax, think about where things will be along the sides of the water, around dry reef patches. Like in right here, there'll be wood that did not go down to the mud and will be laying across the top and have a lot be a lot drier because it hasn't been soaking in the mud. Look at that piece laying out there. I don't know if you can see it, right about there on the shore. That's a dry piece. You take your hatchet to that, that's all dry wood. All right, we're gonna head back to the house. What we'll do is we'll just continue to break this up a little bit more. Split this wood up. It's only so thin you can get it with the axe. And so then what I like to do is I like to get my knife. Continue to split it down. Again, this is the center of that punky wood that we had earlier, so you can tell, you can hear how dry it is. And I'm breaking this wood down real tiny because we want it to start. We don't want it to keep on going out, especially when you have maybe semi-moist wood. Just want to make sure that it burns and burns quickly. So we're going to do that. What we're going to do next is I'm going to show you how I take that fat wood that I found and process it into pieces that we can start a fire with. So what we'll do is, I got this piece of fat wood, and what I'll do is I'll take my saw and it's flat here. I'm just going to cut a piece right about, well, let's say about that big. So you can see so it looks wet, but it's not. I can assure you of that. What we'll do is we'll split this. So if you look inside, it's extremely dry. It smells wonderfully like pine sap. So all we're going to do is the same thing with this. We're going to break it down even smaller. Smaller pieces. And then we're going to get my knife. We're going to do the same thing with the knife. The knife will allow us to get into smaller pieces. And what's really nice is we got a good wind going right now. So I'll show you kind of how to do this with the wind blowing. Damp wood, wind blowing. Get yourself a nice warm fire going. So this is the fat wood pile, and we'll continue to process this down. Okay, and then the last part, what we'll do is we'll just take this fat wood with a knife. We're just going to take little slivers. We're going to make a little pile of slivers. Run the knife like this. Okay, now what we'll do is we'll collect up these shavings. Get a little pile going over here. There we go. And we've got a little pile going. We'll put that over here. Collect all this up because it's all really nice, good burnable stuff. Okay, and what we're going to do is we're going to prep our fire area next. So a part of the stuff that we collected was the dry branches and some of the grasses. So what we're going to do is I always like to kind of put down a little bit of a base of wood, just could be sticks, just so that the ground that's wet, the moisture doesn't create the fire from going out or putting the wood out. So I'll put some pieces of stick down, and then we'll build our base. What we're going to start with first is what to do if you're out camping and you run into a situation where it's pouring down rain and you're like, oh my gosh, everything is super saturated. Even the branches at that point, the dry ones are absorbed all the water and they haven't had a day or two to dry out. So what we're going to do is we're going to do the scenario where we found that punky wood. You go through the forest looking for downed wood, start hitting it with your hatchet until you find a piece of punky wood that has a solid center. Saw it like we did in the video earlier, and then split it all up, and then you'll get your fire going. So here we'll begin. I just put some wood down in a base, keep it from being on the ground. Very simple, nothing spectacular, like that. That's good. So what we're going to do now is, so we got the base down. Now we said if it was wet, so that means even the grasses, all the grasses are soaked. So this one's not going to involve grasses. This is only going to involve the punked wood that we were able to split, and we're going to get a fire going with it. So what I like to do is have my fire kit, and this is my fire kit. So again, we're camping, so it's not like it's an emergency. We already have our plan. And what I like to do is bring with me a piece of tin foil, and inside that tin foil is a cotton ball, and that cotton ball is saturated in Vaseline. What we're going to do is fluff this cotton ball up, and then I'm going to lay it down. All right. Then I'm going to take a little bit of our fat wood and put it on top. And then I'm going to take a couple of fat wood sticks. And just set it around. Again, we want to make sure that it has air for the fire to breathe. So just put it around just a little bit lightly like this. All right, now you can do a bunch of different things. You can use a lighter, you can use a flint. For this one, I'm just going to use a lighter, right? Because again, I'm going to take it with me when we're going camping, because I know that I'm going to have emergency situations like this. So all we're going to do is go down, and you're going to light that cotton ball, and it's going to burn real quick. And then we're going to take the pieces of punky wood that came in afterwards. I'm just going to lay them across. Put a little bit more of the pine tar. As you can see, even with the wind, even with the punky wood, we did find dry wood that's in the center, and it's going to burn nice. We'll get that fire going, and then you'll be nice and warm. Key thing to remember with punky wood, the outer side you can lay around the edges of the fire here facing the fire, and it will actually dry that wood out within a couple of hours, and then you could burn that as well for emergency purposes. But that's how you start a fire with punky wood. All right, we're gonna put this out now. Cotton ball. You can actually fold up. Careful, it's hot. And you can fold it up and you can reuse it again. But look, see how dry that stuff is in the center? It's still burning. So we're gonna blow it out. Separate it down here. And we're gonna start from scratch. We're gonna try something different. Okay. All right. The next thing we'll do is we'll do a situation where It might have rained the last couple of days or whatever, and then we're gonna go through and forage. You saw earlier that I picked up the kind of weedy, grassy material. I collected that up, and then I grabbed some thicker brush stuff. So we're going to try that, but we're not going to do it with a lighter this time because, again, we are going to be a little bit adventurous. We're going to try something. I'd like to use another one is the flint, dryer lint, and we'll use a tungsten sparker and get that going. So here we go. Let's build it. Build the base with this little grassy side. Then we have a little bit the stronger twigs. And we got some little bigger stuff that we had gotten. And then that punky wood that we had split, there's the center parts. And again, here's some more. Okay. So what I'll usually do is just take this, keep this aside. I'll get my tungsten starter. And I like to use the dryer lint. Right here, just a piece of dryer lint. Amazing how flammable this stuff is. I wonder why there's so many house fires each year. Let's break it up a little bit, make sure it's nice and stick it right in the center here. My hands are cold. There we go. Get something solid here. Bring this on top. Put this over on top of that. Put some sticks over top. Spread these sticks out. Make sure it's breathing. And just let the heat and the wind do the rest. All right. And that will continue to burn. You never want to try to continue to fidget with the fire. Let the wind do it. Let the air get in there. Let the fire heat up that wood, and it will continue to burn. A lot of people will try to continue to move stuff around, and the only thing that's going to do is stifle the fire and put it out. And as it starts to burn, just put a little bit more fuel around the edges, just so it continues to burn. Every once in a while, give it a little bit of a blow, and it will go. Remember, damp wood's going to take a little bit of time, but it will go. There it is, it's starting to catch good now. Remember, the heat has to dry that wood out, and once that wood starts to dry, it'll catch real good. So what we're going to do is continue to stack some wood on there, a little bit more, and then if there was wet wood, again, like I said, if you had, you can split it, and you can run it all the way along the edge of the fire, facing the fire, and then you can spin it, and it will dry that wood right out, and then you can just throw it right on top. And as that wood again starts to dry, it starts to burn real nice. Just add a few more twigs, and as the bottom flames heat and dry out the upper ones, it just continues to get hotter and drier. So hey everyone, I hope you enjoyed today's video. If you did, do me a favor, click on the like and subscribe below. I'm going to be putting out a new video every Saturday. If you have any comments or thoughts from today's video, definitely leave them at the bottom, because I always like to learn myself. Do me a favor though, if you find yourself cooped up in the house, definitely try an adventure on your own. You can do simple things like local metro parks or state parks. You don't have to go out camping for 5 days in the wilderness, but definitely get outside, see the nature, smell the fresh air, and enjoy yourself. Until next Saturday, have a great week.